Prop 21 is about rent control and was put on the ballot by people who collected more than 300,000 signatures from registered voters in California. And the question of voters is, do you want to allow local governments to place more limits on rent increases? So starting in the 1970s, local governments were permitted to limit rent increases as long as the landlords could receive a fair return on their rental properties. The way these ordinances limit rent increases varies from city to city. In 1995, some limits were placed on how much control of rent increases could be applied anywhere in California, regardless of the local law. Now, landlords can't be limited in what they charge for rent in a single-family home, in newly built housing that's completed after February 1995, or in a residence in which a new renter first moves in. Today, 1/5 of Californians live in rent-controlled housing with limits on how much their rent can increase annually. Over 17 million people are currently renting in California. Home ownership rates have fallen to the lowest level since the 1940s. 1/4 of California residents between 25 and 34 years old live with their parents. Median rent in California is $1,297 per month, the second highest compared to other states. California has 6 of the nation's 11 most expensive metropolitan rental markets: San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland, Orange County, San Diego, and Los Angeles. In 2015, more than half the renters in California paid more than 30% of their income to housing costs, and almost 1/3 pay more than 50% to their housing. So Prop 21 proposes the following changes to the current rent control law. Rent increases can be limited to no more than 15% during the first 3 years that a new renter occupies the property. Limits cannot be imposed on landlords who own 1 or 2 residential rentals, only on those who own more than 2. Rent increases can be limited in residential property that has been occupied by the tenant for more than 15 years. Today, you can only limit it if it's been occupied for more than about 25 years. So the estimated fiscal effects for this are negligible, and it depends a lot on the actions by each of the local communities. So in summary, a yes vote means you want to allow local governments to limit rent increases to more property than they're allowed to do today. And a no vote means you don't want these changes made to the current rent control law. Support for 21 has received over $24 million from the AIDS Foundation and also from California Nurses Association. People who support 21 say California holds 12% of the US population and 22% of the homeless population in the country, and there's a direct link between high rents and the number of people living in the streets. They also say that local governments are best qualified to decide what controls are needed in their own communities. Money against Prop 21 has been donated in the amount of $41.5 million from Essex Properties, Equity Residential, Avalon Bay Communities, and Jackson Square Properties. And they say people who oppose Prop 21 say that instead of rent control, the costs of licensing, permitting, and construction costs should be reduced.